President of France, President Macron, who will be in the region, is one of a number of countries and people who have been trying to help in resolving this problem. In our region, people talk about Eastern Congo. Eastern Congo is not a country on its own. It's actually Congo. I think there's nothing like, in my view, there's nothing like Eastern Congo problem. Maybe you want to be specific in a narrow sense about where, but it is actually Congo's problem. It's also a regional problem, meaning it affects even neighbors. I can't say how we are affected. Let's say if we are referring to Rwanda, you wouldn't say northern Rwanda problem, because northern Rwanda is neighboring with eastern Congo, and the spillovers of problems mainly come to the north of our country. That doesn't make it a northern Rwanda problem. No, it makes Rwanda's problem. So I want us to understand that Eastern Congo problem is Congo's problem. It should stop being Eastern Congo problem, Eastern Congo problem. No, it's the Congo's problem. That's one. Number two, again, this problem has a very long history in terms of the cause of that. But it also has a long history of how it has been mismanaged from the beginning. That's why it is there for the last 20-something years. And if you look at the attention that has been paid to this so-called Eastern Congo problem, it's so much so that one would think we should have got a solution to this problem. So it's been there for long. It has been mismanaged for very long. And I think it has a relationship also with the first thing I corrected, that it can't just keep being seen as Eastern Congo problem. It's a Congo problem, only based, this particular one, based in Eastern Congo. So, your important question, I'm not sure. People have discussed this problem in all kinds of settings. The AU summit, we discussed it. We discussed it in Kenya. We discussed it in Angola. We have discussed it around the General Assembly in New York. We have discussed it almost everywhere, and people, there are other well-wishers there who want to help in this problem. The other day we were supposed to go and meet in Qatar over the same problem. That didn't happen, but maybe it is going to happen in the near future. So everywhere we are talking about this problem. So the importance of your question therefore lies in this fact that how can any problem, but particularly this one, continue to be discussed, just discussed, and keep people taking. We have communiques, we have all kinds of statements, but that's why it has stayed for all these years. Then on top of that, we remember the background. We have under global peacekeeping, we have had thousands, tens of thousands of troops called peacekeepers in Congo for this time. They are supposed to keep something, to resolve something, keep peace, resolve the underlying issues for the lack of peace. Again, we are there for these years of meaning decades. Still we see no problem, no solution. So surely if anyone stepped back a little bit and wanted to make sense of what is happening, somebody should realize that something is terribly wrong. And we might be addressing the wrong problem, or we are providing the wrong solution to the problem we know. Otherwise, there is no other explanation how things can continue like this forever. Now, people who want shortcuts, but even then, shortcut is supposed to reduce the time you address something. But people who want shortcuts blame it all on Rwanda. This is now the easiest, but even then, I have not found how it becomes a shortcut, because we are still there with the problem. Maybe if we had blamed Rwanda, as even if wrongly, and got a solution, okay, we can live with that. We can say, okay, Rwanda was blamed for a problem that is not theirs, and they incurred so much in terms of cost and this and that. But at least we found a solution. So, but now it has only turned out to be an additional problem, for which you're not going to find a solution. As if the first problem is not bad enough, we add another problem, which is blaming it all on the wrong party altogether. So, is it just a matter of meetings that even if it were for that, we have not had a few meetings? Is it we've run short of people to blame? I don't think that is even giving us a solution. So I think people need to come back to our senses and see how, because I try to summarize what I think is the origin or why we keep going back and forth and not finding. I should say it originates with the history between our two countries, Rwanda and DRC. We shared the colonial history because we were all governed by Belgians at that time, DRC, Rwanda, and Burundi. Then whatever happened, in fact, we find like it has happened in many other countries. I've been raising this question. If there is any country in Africa that does not have people on one side of the border similar or related to people on the other side of the border of the country that are neighboring each other, I don't think there is any. So this famous, I mean, I'm sure here, by the time we are done with this press conference, the story will be M23 has become something like a scarecrow. It's supposed to dramatize the story or, scare people that we have something terrible here, and that's what is. So I'm sure that's what is going to happen from here. M23 is the beginning and the end of the problem, but that's not true. The so-called M23 is a product of a lot of things mismanaged, mishandled. Starting even in those days, I talked of colonial times, how these people associated with Rwanda happened to be in Congo. If, to be honest, I probably wasn't around when it happened. That was way before I was born. So how can I be responsible for the problem? How can I be the cause of the problem? Of course, for all of you, I'm sure you were born yesterday. I'm sure there is even part of the story you don't know, you've never come across. So that is one. How can Rwanda be blamed for the refugees we have here, who have been here for 20 years, over from Congo, associated with the people in M23? M23 problem which started in 2012, and where they used some military force to try and resolve the problem. The M23 people, some fled to Uganda and neighboring Congo as well. Others fled here. We have them here in the camps. So when that was done and finished, there had been agreements of the next steps to resolve that problem from 2012. These agreements were all reneged on until recently, when this fighting flared up, started again, of the same groups. But in Congo, in Eastern Congo, there are over 120 armed groups, of which M23 is only one of them. Right? So the 120 armed groups, how were they formed? Certainly, I haven't even heard even those who hate Rwanda, who tell a lot of lies about Rwanda, have not accused Rwanda of having formed those 100 and plus armed groups. So at least even those who wish us everything negative have not accused us of that. They're only accusing us of association with M23. So who formed the other 100 over armed groups, and why? Who explains that? Why don't they talk about that or take care of that? So I would suggest to people that they simply need to look at what needs to be looked at. The root causes of what we are having to deal with. The root causes are clear. I've told you in that history. Even agreements were reached of how to resolve that from 2012. How could they not have been implemented, those agreements? It can't be because of Rwanda. Even if I bring you to the recent events, this fighting that it started a couple of years ago was not started by Rwanda by any means or by anybody. Try to look at, just follow the history of how this recent fighting started. It had no involvement of Rwanda at all. Only that maybe the ones who started it or who wanted it to be there designed it in such a way that they would then blame it on Rwanda. And it's simple how to do that. You just have to distort the history. Because they are saying, no, these are people from Rwanda. These are Rwandans, meaning the M23 and the people we have here as refugees who have been here for over 20 years are all called Rwandans. So they are from Rwanda. So it's like they are sending them back to where they came from the beginning. This is really the story. The story is all of these Rwandans in Congo, it doesn't matter how they went there, they should go back to Rwanda. But what is even more interesting is that while you are sending away these Rwandans and saying they should go to Rwanda, back to Rwanda, it doesn't matter how they got here, these same people are retaining other Rwandans who are FDLR. You have heard of that? So FDLR is actually welcome in the Eastern Congo. But the rest should go back to Rwanda. So that again tells the story. But the way they retain FDLR, the reason they do that is because they think they can build around it for so long. They have been trying to do that. A force that would come and destabilize Rwanda, and I think the president of Congo at one point, it must have escaped from his thoughts. Remember when he said he's going to bring regime change in Rwanda. Of course, I didn't take that seriously. I thought it was a joke. He must have been joking, and he's allowed to make those jokes. It's okay. But it's also something that may be in the minds of some people, they wish for that. But that's a different subject. So, what is simple? Why don't we even look at those old agreements? There are many, by the way, whether they were reached by the former government under President Kabila and others that were reached by the current administration about how to resolve this matter with these same people they are having a problem with. Even if we just started with that alone. And that could be helpful. So the root cause, if there are people here. First of all, if there are people they think are not Rwandan, are not Congolese, they are pretending, okay, those we can identify and put them aside. But how about those they will identify as actual Congolese? What is the reason for not accepting them as they should accept other Congolese? So the whole story now turns into, oh, this is an invasion from Rwanda, they want a piece of Congo. No, but before you come to that, maybe you need to answer these questions I was raising. Of course, we are very conscious of the fact that Rwanda geographically is really small. That's a fact. How it came to that, I'm not even going to talk about it. That Rwanda was dismembered and cut to pieces and left people. I'm not talking about that. I don't need to talk about that. It's not in my mind. But we are where we are. We've been where we are for so long. It's not today that we are thinking of encroaching on somebody else's territory to increase our size and so on. I mean, unless somebody really is just insulting us and thinks we are that foolish in this day and age to be investing in things that are so costly to us that we would be looking for that. I don't think so. This is just diversionary. What is clear is, let's go to the real problem. Let's go to why is this fighting? How did it start? Who started it? Why? Who are these people who are fighting? What do they want? Whether it is M23 or the other groups I told you that are up to or over 120 groups, armed groups. So the mismanagement, the bad governance, cannot just be explained away. You need, and also the rights of people. The rights of people need to be given to them. Always, it's whether it is Eastern Congo or here or anywhere, the moment you think or you have a policy of denying people their rights and persecuting them, you know that when people have nothing to lose, they will fight you. You can blame the ones who you imagine is helping them, you can do whatever you want, but I think history has shown us many things that when you tamper with people's rights for so long and think you are so powerful or have right to do that, the moment it turns on you, it might be too late for you. And then the other stories, you can see they are really looking for all kinds of excuses to run away from the real problem or root causes of that problem. Then the next time it is about minerals. Oh, Rwanda is poor, has no minerals. They are invading our country, they are fighting, supporting M23. They want to steal our minerals. Well, those minerals have been there for so long. I only wonder why they don't even benefit the Congolese, actually. Why? How about the Congolese who are not in Eastern Congo but are so far away from there? Do they really benefit from these minerals? So now you have somebody to accuse for invading your country looking for minerals. Do you know that we have some minerals here? They may be fewer than you find in Congo, but we have some minerals. In fact, the coltan which they talk about, we have a lot of coltan, and it is of a much higher quality than you would find coltan anywhere, including Congo. try and do some research about it, people will tell you the story. It goes up to about 40, even up to 60%, where in Congo it's about 20, 30% for the content of coltan. Ask, investigate, you know the truth. So then gold, we have gold, you know, in the old days when we were fighting war here, somewhere in the northern part, Chumbi, we used it to pick gold, alluvial gold from, there's a place, is it Kivuye or something? We used, Miove. It is Miove. We used to pick gold. People would be in ambush waiting for the enemy, and they find gold, and they and it's I'm not dramatizing anything. So we actually have gold, which is even on the surface in the Miove, sorry. So I mean, these are all just useless stories to divert people away from the real problem. Then you can turn around and ask MONUSC that has been there for forever. Actually, some of you have been born after it was deployed there, I'm sure, in this group. Yeah, it's true. So they've been there. So what have they been doing, by the way? Why didn't they solve this problem? Why? Only to wait, to turn around and blame it all on Rwanda and say Rwanda has done this. But for a fact, we have said this. This FDLR problem that is in Congo, which everybody has played down and said this and all this, yet there are things to show that they are there. They've been armed, rearmed, and given everything, have had an effect. In 2019, November, a group of FDLR crossed our border in a place called Kinigi, killed people until our military had to intervene and get rid of them. These were FDLR, and they had arms from government or by some groups working on behalf of government. In 2019, again, you can ask, in November, this happened. After that, in the recent days, when this fighting was beginning to take shape between M23 and the government and these other armed groups, FDLR, having been rearmed again, integrated with RDC, with full knowledge and authority of government and government institutions, whether it was the commanders of RDC or governors of the provinces or everybody, they knew about it. They attacked again the northern part. They were bombing our territory from Eastern Congo into Rwanda. Again, there is no confusion about this information. It is available to everybody. There are victims. There are things like that. We have communicated directly with the government of Congo. I did communicate directly with the president of Congo on these issues when they were happening. And so this has resulted into, we have had to deploy, we have massively, we have even increased deployment along our border. And what we are supposed to do and will do whenever it will be necessary is to make sure nobody crosses again our border to attack our people or uses any territory near us to share Rwanda again without consequences. So this is not a secret. We have said it publicly. So when you turn that into a problem, oh, you know, Rwanda is helping M23, they are in Congo, they are, okay, but you must answer another question. Why would they be doing that? Why would Rwanda be doing that? Why would Rwanda want to go into Congo? Why would Rwanda support M23? Why? If you get those answers, you should also ask yourself, what is FDLR doing in Congo, armed and working with government of Congo? Why? Why are they there? What are they to do? The third issue is, what should Rwanda do? Have FDLR armed once in a while, crossing the border, killing our people, and we should just keep quiet? This is another question that must be answered. The other question is, what has been the presence of MONUSCO and other groups that have gone into Congo to help Congo to pacify this region? What have they been doing all these years? What have they been doing? Associated with FDLR? Or maybe part of the rearming FDLR? Somebody must answer that question. Finally, I want to say this. Just end on what I asked from the beginning. Why would Rwanda, of all countries, want to be part of or the cause of instability in the neighborhood? Why? What would we gain from that? What can anyone gain from having stability next door? If anything, everybody should know we are the people most interested in peace in this region. Because we have lacked peace for so long, we know what it means. We know the cost of it. And why would we be building our country the way you can see with your own eyes, and then have instability to come and destroy it? What kind of people would Rwandans be? So these are, but I think this is a simple matter to resolve honestly. If we only address the root causes and stop just talking. The root cause is simple. Even work with the neighbors, because the neighbors have wanted to help or to work with Congo to resolve these matters that affect them, but also that affect us. But Congo has been hesitant. They don't want this matter resolved. Otherwise, if they had wanted that to be resolved, then they would have welcomed the people who want to work with them to resolve this matter. They only welcome those who are not actually helping them to resolve the matter. If they welcome MONUSCO, but yes, MONUSCO does not help to resolve the matter. So the ones who would have helped, because they also have vested interests, meaning neighbors, they are not welcome to do that. They only turned into enemies. And then there is a lot of politics being played. They always say, oh, the country has been invaded. Invaded Congo. People invade Congo for what? To do what? But Congo is harboring, is home to groups that are armed, that even some of them being armed by Congo to destabilize neighbors. And the case, our own case, is a good example. And then the rest, the media, the human rights, the humanitarian, the UN groups, the different countries, they're just making a noise, oh, M23, M23, for a problem that has those dimensions I've been explaining to you. People are just making a joke of everything and of lives of people, millions of lives of people. So why are these refugees we are having in Rwanda there for over 20 years? Why don't they find a home? The first threat against their lives is their own government, is their own neighbors or people who they are supposed to be living side by side. So I've taken long because to explain your point, I thought to. Because people treat this matter as something they just want, they hope one day they can wish away, or they can use it to wish away other facts and factors around this problem. No, you cannot solve a problem by just wanting to wish it away. That's what has happened, and that's why we are with it for over 2 decades. It's as simple as that. So can we, people, human beings, whether the actors really in the field or those who want to help, and then all of you, the media, can you even find a way you can be helpful also? Instead of just singing some nonsense.